So, welcome to part 4 of Revelation 10, talking about the mighty angel. This is one of the best ways that we know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the seventh trumpet is mid-trib, not the end of the 70th week. This is one of those things where it is argued when the seventh trumpet occurs. And the proof text for Revelation 10, which previews the sounding of the seventh trumpet, is found in Daniel 12. You will see, when comparing these verses side by side, that there is an event which prophesies the midpoint of the 70th week, the abomination of desolation specifically. And it says, "From the abomination which maketh desolate, there shall be a time, times, and in half." That's 1260 days or 42 months. So we know, based on what Daniel said in chapter 9, in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate. In Revelation 13, we actually see the beast given the mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. He opened his mouth in blasphemy against God to blaspheme his name as tabernacle of them that dwell in heaven. But that's not the first thing that happens at the sounding of the seventh trumpet. Or rather, that's not the first thing that happens in the midpoint of the 70th week. The very first thing that is prophesied to occur at the sounding of the seventh trumpet is Revelation 10:7. "The angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven." And if you happen to watch part 1 of this series of Revelation 10, I had a little drawing that showed Jesus, the stick figure, because I am not an artist, with one foot on the sea and one on the earth. That is denoting dominion over the whole of the earth, which creation, it was separated into land and sea, dry land and water. And the dry land was called earth and the waters were called seas. So to stand on the earth and the sea is to declare dominion or sovereignty over the whole of it. But the more important intention with the location in the book of Revelation is that beast 1 rises up out of the sea and beast 2 rises up out of the earth. So before either rise, Jesus is declaring dominion and sovereignty over the whole of the earth, where those two beasts come from, which means that he by default would have sovereignty over both of them as well. We see this evidenced in Revelation 19 when Jesus returns to throw the beast and the false prophet into the lake of fire and to defeat their armies. So this should not be questioned. However, this is what standing on the earth and the sea, standing on the sea and the earth, means, is that he's declaring dominion over both. And he lifts up his hand to heaven. In Revelation 5, we come to learn that the hand of God is Jesus. So essentially, he's swearing by himself as the highest power in existence, sovereign over all things, creator of the heavens and the earth, and the final arbiter of truth. He has sworn by himself, and he cannot lie. "And swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created the heaven and the things that therein are, the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which therein are, that there should be time no longer," meaning no delay. "But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets." This is the revelation of the mystery of God revealed worldwide visually, Revelation 12:1-5, and Revelation 14:6 and 7 auditorially. The first thing that happens, or one of the first things that is prophesied to happen at the sounding of the seventh trumpet, is the preaching of the everlasting gospel. This is specifically what Jesus stated as a sequence of events in Matthew 24. In verse 14, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come." Immediately to be followed by the abomination of desolation and the flight of the remnant. This tells us that the abomination of desolation is a reactionary event to the preaching of the everlasting gospel. When we drill down into the details of the preaching of the everlasting gospel in Revelation 14:6 and 7, it says, "I saw another angel fly through the midst of the heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and people and kindred and tongue, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven, the earth, the sea, and the fountains of waters." Jesus is swearing by himself as creator and final arbiter of truth, and the angel that preaches the everlasting gospel, which is the revelation of the mystery of God, the life of Christ from birth to ascension, is saying fear God and worship him. It's directing worship to Jesus the Creator, who swore when the seventh trumpet sounded that these things would move forward. Sorry, I had to take a text from my son, who is in the middle of moving to Fort Knox, Kentucky for recruiting school, so I had to pause my video. So sorry, I kind of forgot what I just said. Regardless, at the sounding of the seventh trumpet, there is a promise from Jesus that there will be a sequence of events put into motion that will not be stopped. The first of which is the preaching of the everlasting gospel. The same thing that he said in Matthew 24. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, then the end shall come. The contents of that preaching is to fear God and give glory to the Creator, who is Jesus. This causes the reactionary event that we know as the abomination of desolation, where the beast goes into the temple and declares himself to be above all that the angel just said worship. Declares himself to be above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And then there is a flight of the remnant. Hence the sequence of events from Matthew 24 that says, when ye shall therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand that. Then let him which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let them which are on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, to them that give suck in those days. Pray ye that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath days, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no nor shall ever be. And except for those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Shortened meaning they're taken out of Jerusalem on the wings of the great eagle to take them into their place, where they will be nourished for a time times half a time from the face of the serpent. So as we can see, there is the preaching of the everlasting gospel, the reactionary event that is the abomination of desolation, and the flight of the remnant. Revelation 10:7 places the preaching of the everlasting gospel at the sounding of the seventh trumpet. Because we know from Matthew that that comes just before the abomination of desolation and the flight of the remnant, we go back over to Daniel, which is the sister passage to these verses in Revelation 10 that tells you precisely that the abomination of desolation at the midpoint of the week, and from the abomination of desolation there shall be a time times and a half, which tells you that if the abomination of desolation comes after the comes after the preaching of the everlasting gospel, and the preaching of the everlasting gospel is slotted at the seventh trumpet, then you know that the seventh trumpet is a midpoint event. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long till it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river. Now, why would he be upon the waters of the river here, and have 1 foot upon the sea or the waters and 1 foot upon the earth here? Because in Revelation, he is going to be prophesying about the rise of two beasts, one that comes from the sea and one that comes from the earth. Here in Daniel 12, he's only prophesying about the event which is tied to the rising of the beast out of the sea. So he's standing upon the waters of the river, the waters, all in one place, called seas in creation, day, 2? So waters, seas, same thing. So Daniel 12 is giving a prophecy pertinent to the waters or the seas, which is where the beast will rise from that commits the abomination of desolation. So this prophecy here in Daniel 12 specifically is about beast 1 who rises up out of the sea, the one who commits the abomination of desolation. Over here in Revelation 10, it's a prophecy forward looking to the rise of both beasts, which is why the sea or the waters and the earth are mentioned. However, we go back to Daniel 12. I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, and he held up his right hand. Remember, right hand, right arm is the name of Jesus from the Old Testament, is where the power of God is contained. So he is swearing by him that liveth forever and ever. He is swearing by the arbiter of truth, the highest power in existence, who cannot lie. He is swearing by Jesus Christ himself. He held up his right hand and his left unto heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, that it shall be for a time, times, and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So the reference point in Revelation 10 to this verse 6, which is one standing on the 5 and 6, one standing on the waters and the earth, the sea and the earth, declaring dominion over both, and stating that when the seventh trumpet sounds, there will be a movement forward of specific things, which will start with the revelation of the mystery of God, lead into the abomination of desolation and the flight of the remnant, and other things besides. This is specifically talking about the abomination of desolation portion of the midpoint of the 70th week, which again, we go back to the sequence of events in Matthew 12 and understand that that is in Matthew 24. I don't even know where Matthew 12 came from. Matthew 24. This is a sequence of events. The gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and the end shall come. That's Revelation 10:7 and Revelation 14:6 and 7. And then you have the abomination of desolation, Daniel 12, that from that point there will be a time, times, and a half, until he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, then all these things shall be finished. You have the abomination of desolation and the flight of the remnant, and their preservation by God in the wilderness for a time, times, and a half, for 1,260 days, for 42 months. So this helps us understand that Revelation 10, 5 through 7's counterpart in the Old Testament is Daniel 12, 4 through 9. This is specifically about Beast 1, which is why the waters are mentioned, standing upon the waters, whereas Revelation 10, 5, and 7 is previewing both the waters and the earth, the sea and the earth, because it's going to be talking about both Beast 1 and Beast 2 from Revelation 13. Obviously, Beast 1 is the one who commits the abomination of desolation. He actually ascends out of the bottomless pit or rises up out of the sea in Trumpet 6, and is followed by the second beast rising up out of the earth in Trumpet 7 in Revelation 13. So this was the final point that I wanted to discuss, and how we can absolutely understand that the sounding of the seventh trumpet is midpoint, not the end of the 70th week.